Right. So we have come to the end of contrast and emphasis. Yeah, and I hope you guys understood what I was talking about. And I know in your designs, in your forthcoming designs, you are going to apply all these things I thought. So next is talk about composition. All right. So under composition, we have alignment, we have hierarchy, we have balance, space, proximity, and repetition underneath. Now, composition for flyer designs. All right. Composition is very, 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 very key. So I'm going to talk about composition first, then before I move. So composition which is one of the major problems people first have when they are designing something. The question is, how do I know where to place what? All right. So you tell me, so and so, design this flyer, and the title of the flyer is, we are having vigil this night. So the question is, yes, this is the time, this is the venue. So where do I know what to put first? So first thing you have to understand for composition is your audience. Who are the people that are reading it? They are human beings, like you and I. They're the ones that are reading. Okay, so let's say this is our canvas or our document. This is our design, right? First thing you have to understand is, despite the fact that you're going to apply all these things, arrangement is important. Imagine going to somebody's house and the person gets the color right. His chair is at the right size. The TV and everything is looking at the right size, but they are not arranged. The chair is backing the TV.
Yes.
Yeah, the fridge is upside down. Yeah. So it just does. It's
so
not
weird.
It will make sense. Yeah. So that's what composition helps. Yeah, composition helps you arrange things, so that despite the fact that you have bought the right items, you have the right color or furniture or rug or the painting on your wall, arrange it well so that at least it looks functional. So first thing you understand, there are a couple of rules you have to understand in composition. Rule number one that I tell every graphic designer is, let's say the direction, yes, of read, yes, in Nigeria or in Africa or English, according to the English language, yeah, we read from left to right and from top to bottom. We read from left to right and from top to bottom. So whatever design you are making, you have to put that in consideration. Yeah, so in terms of placing, knowing where to place what, you have to ask yourself the question, what is the first thing you want this person to see? But if they are going to, now, there's a difference between what the first thing you want them to see when their eye first come upon the design. And, okay, this is the way it goes. Let me backtrack. When someone sees your design, the first thing they see, there's part of design you emphasize that draws their attention. Bam, they see it. That's number one. Now, when they see that design, when they want to now read everything, what is the first set of information you want to put out there? Right? So it doesn't make sense for you to start your design. The first thing you put is date and time on top. So the question is, date and time to what? You don't understand what you are putting date and time for. You get, so if you are giving like I want you to design something that says come to church for service. Yeah, I say the Covenant Nation invites you to church. So the first thing you want to see is the Covenant Nation, which is the logo on top, invites you to, then the program, then whatever details you want to put underneath. So this just gives you a sense of flow. And so the person sees the logo, Covenant Nation logo, invites you for, then he sees the main text for so and so, women's prayer, prayer vigil, night vigil, blah blah blah. Then what time? Time is so and so, date is so and so, venue so and so, register, link, blah blah blah. So that arrangement, that's what we call composition. Yeah, in terms of design. All right. So the second rule that I normally use is called the rule of thirds. Yeah. So rule of thirds, as I said. So what is rule of thirds? So rule of thirds is a rule that is basically used in film and photography, but I apply it to my designs. It kind of like helps. So what rule of thirds says that if you have a screen and you divide your screen into 3 equal blocks, a grid of 3 blocks, all right, the part of this screen where you want to locate your elements, your most important elements, or whatever element you want to put that is important, is that the part of this grid where you place your elements that will make it more physically appealing, visually appealing to the eyes of the viewer, is this point, this point, this point, this point. All right, that's what the rule of thirds says. Yeah, so if you put your element at any of these 4 points, or put the center of your element might be so big, when you put the focus where people normally look at that element or an image or a text or whatever, make sure it is close to this 4 point. It might not be exactly at this 4 point, but it should just be close to this 4 points, or it should be on this line. Should be on, so it's not close to the 4 points, should be on this line. If it's something that's horizontal, it should be on this line or on this line. All right, so if you do that in your scene, yeah, it would be visually more, it would have a lot more visual appeal, and somehow it just looks balanced in the eyes of the person who's watching it. So let me give an example. Yeah, before I talk about how design and how this thing is being applied. If you watch, this is just aside. If you watch movies, from now on, when you are watching movies, I want you to take note of this. If you watch movies or a documentary or whatever where somebody is being interviewed, you always notice that the person that is talking, is always on a side of the screen. Let's say somebody is being interviewed. Yeah, he's never at the middle. You never see something like this. You hardly see something like this where someone is interviewed, or there's a scene on the movie where somebody is talking and the person is at the middle. You hardly, let me not say you never, you hardly anyways. Although there are some people, there's some directors that break this principle and do their own thing. Yeah, so you hardly see anything like this. Yeah, you always see this. Why? Because they are following the director is following the rule of thirds. Alright, so if you divide the screen into 3, he always wants to place the subject on one of those points I told you about. Alright, I could open let's say I go to YouTube. Yep. Okay, so look at this. Look at YouTube. Look at this shot. This shot is from a movie. You can see all the space here, and there's little space here. This is following the rule of thirds. It was done on purpose. Let me open the movies. Let me open the scene so you can see. Like, you look at this, you can see that the focus here is the eyes. Yeah, and the eyes is positioned somewhat close to this point here. Yeah, it's intentional. Here you can see her, this woman. There's a lot of room here, and she's actually at this section. This one, you can see this television is an element in the frame, but they placed it close to the this intersection. Full of thoughts, I said. Even a helicopter, there's a lot of space here. And they could have put a helicopter in the middle, but they didn't do that. They had to put it close to this point. So it just makes your design, your frame, whatever it is you are doing, more visually appealing. Yeah, so that's the point I wanted to make. So when you are designing, also by the time you are putting your pictures and all of that, you also want to put that in mind. Like I said, these are principles, and principles can be broken. But before you start breaking principles, just know the principle. It's very, very important for you to know it, so that when you want to break it, you have a reason why you've decided to break those principles. Yeah, and then it can actually work for you. So that's that. So if you look at this design, this one, if you look at this one, let's say I do this, I do this, I do this. Right, so these proportions are not actually so accurate anyways, but you can see where I put pastor's picture. Yeah, close to this point. So it was done there, it was done for a reason. Yeah, I didn't put him here. Yeah, or put him, I don't know. Where else would I have put him? Maybe somewhere here like this. I could have anyways, and this would still make sense, but putting it close to this point just gives it more attention and focus. The main design, this one, the main element, which is the text, I made sure it was lying, the middle of it was lying on this line. Remember I said the most important places are this point here, this point here, this point here, this point here, this line, and anything lying on this line. Yeah, so I make sure the text was lying balanced on this line. The middle of the whole text, body of the text was balanced on this line. That's important. Okay. So that's that for this composition talk. So we're going to move on to the next thing, which is going to be the next thing now is going to be alignment. Yes, thank you.